Can you learn 50 words a day? I don't know. I haven't seen any recorded evidence of it on YouTube. Maybe I haven't looked hard enough, but what I'm going to do or try to do is record my month progress by changing my Anki from 15 new words a day to 50 words a day. What that's going to look like by the end of the month, it's probably going to be ridiculous. My amount of studying for each day is probably going to be in like the 500 amount of cards review. So do I know what I'm getting into? No, not really. I already kind of struggled to get that 15 new cards a day out of the way, but maybe with some newfound scheduling I can get this goal accomplished. And yeah, I tested this out. So I started this yesterday. I did my 50 cards yesterday along with my daily reviews, and it wasn't too bad. But now today's reviews, we're looking at a little bit more. So if I go ahead and show you what I've got in my Anki, I've got 113 due cards and 43 new ones. If you don't know how Anki works, those 43 new ones, multiply that by 2, and that's the amount of cards you've got to finish for the day for your new, and then including the due. So that brings me to probably around 200 reviews, or 200 cards to review at the least, or 300, around 300 based on my how many are hard and how many are good, or how many I have to redo versus how many I click for good. So am I nervous? Just a tad bit, but I'm also very excited because I want to see if I can actually do this and have this incorporated into my learning as kind of like a boosted learning. Next week I'll be going into spring break, so hopefully I'll have some time to kind of get this all up and running, or I'll have some additional time next week. So maybe I'll do additional studying, but who knows? I'm kind of just going into this blind as kind of a month challenge for learning. Now, before we move on, or before I move on, I've got to have a couple of guidelines or rules for how I'm going about learning it. So, by my definition of learning in this experiment is not by being able to write it, not by being able to produce it, but by being able to read and recognize the kanji that I am looking at. So I would like that to be being able to see the kanji and know what the hiragana reading of the kanji is, and that would be my measure for learning the 50 words. So what I mean, maybe I should, if I want to clarify recognizing the kanji, I was going over the Refold website, refold.la, from Matt vs. Japan, and one of their studies, or I believe one of the points I read for Anki reviews, is if you can read the kanji and understand the meaning of it. So if I read a kanji and I know what the meaning of it is, but I don't quite know what the spelling of it is in hiragana or the sound, go ahead and click good. Eventually that word will be incorporated, will I guess become a part of the acquisition in the future, or at least it'll help me it will allow me to internalize the word or the kanji with its meaning, which I think is going to be the more important part, rather than just understanding the hiragana. Because I know the hiragana for certain characters or certain words, but I don't know what they actually mean. So by understanding the kanji, I think is going to be the most valuable thing from this learning experience. Now you may say, oh, but that's just cheating. You know, you won't be able to use it. Well, one of the big problems that I have is I see all these different kanji on when I'm reading, and I don't know what they are, I don't know what they mean. So this, I think, will help to boost my reading skills. I'll be introduced to so many new kanji in this amount of time, and if I'm able to keep up with the Anki reviews, maybe it will enhance my reading abilities. Who knows? I haven't tried it, and everyone learns differently, so I'm gonna go ahead and just try it. Will I be able to understand it if I hear it? Will I be able to use it in speaking? No, probably. But like I said before, it's going to be able to help me in my reading, and that reading is going to produce repetition, and repetition is what's going to eventually add it into my language acquisition. So I am just going to kind of record, you know, how it goes for the month. It's been one day. This is my second day so far, so it hasn't been too bad, but hopefully I'm not speaking too early on that. And so I don't think I went over it, but the way I'm going about Anki is I'm going to be using only 2 of the buttons. The 2 buttons I'll be using is again and then good. The reason why I don't use easy or hard is according to some of the research that I read and some of the pointers I was given, is those 2 mess up the algorithm because it changes the easiness and whatever and whatnot. I don't want to go into depth on the whole algorithm stuff because this isn't a math channel, but you kind of get the gist of what I'm going to be using Anki, or how I'm going to be using Anki by just using the good and again buttons. Lastly, I guess I should go over what my level of Japanese is right now. I actually don't know. I would probably say somewhere in the JLPT 5 level, beginner level. I don't know how well I could pass it. I haven't taken any of that exam stuff, but I can go through NHK and read the sentences with quite a few of the words that I don't know. I have to look up, but I understand what the sentences mean once I look those words up. So I don't have a concrete level that I can give y'all, but let's just say I've been studying for 8 months because I restarted learning in last July from I would say about 0, because last time I took that prior to restarting Japanese was 2 to 3 years ago. So I don't consider that experience any experience. Anyways, before this video gets too long, I'm gonna go ahead and end it here. If you have any experience, or if you've done this yourself, how many words have you learned in a day? On a consistent baseline or a consistent schedule? Let me know down below in the comments, and I'll see y'all in the next video.